In my VS Code, I have already initialized a project and we need the following dependencies: Express, Mongoose and Udmon as a dev dependency. Now in my index.js file, I will first write const express equals to require express, then const mongoose equals to require mongoose. This will help us to interact with MongoDB. Now I also have a port. Let's give 3000. Now I'll create our app equals to express, and I'll also use app.use express.json. This will help us to read something from the body. So express.json. Now I can start creating our routes. So I'll create one base route and we will have access to the request and the response like this. And here I will simply do one res.send to-do list homepage. Now I can simply do app.listen. I will have access to the port, and here I can simply console log my something. Let's write app running on port and whatever is our port, the port variable. Now I can run our app. So node-mon index.js, and we will see app running on port 3000. Now to connect with the MongoDB, we need one connection string. So we will have something like this: const connection string equals to something we will have over here, and then we can simply do something like this: mongoose dot connect, and here I will pass my connection string, and after the connection is complete we will have access to some methods. So this will be one promise, and then we can do something like this: log connected to DB, and then we can catch something if we have an error. Let's write got an error, and then we will log out our error. But right now we don't have any connection string, so our app is crashing. So we'll go to our MongoDB and let's see how we can get the string. So here I have already created one project, to-do F4. I have many to-do lists, and here I can click on connect, and then I can click on drivers. You can also use compass if you want to use in desktop, but I will use the drivers. And here I have one connection string. So we can copy this string, and this will allow us to connect with our to-do F4. Now I'll show you how to get these things, but let me first show you how the connection works. So I'll go to my VS Code. Here I will paste my string. Now there is one issue over here, and that is here is one password. Now I don't want this to be the password because I have given one password, and that is ABCD1234. Very simple. I mean, if you get this password and I allow access, then you can also access my database, which is not good, so I'll delete it later. And also one more thing, after this slash and below this question mark, you will have access to the table. So let me write to-do list and it will create on its own, and rest of the things are fine. So let me just see if we can access now. So it is saying some issues are coming, and it is saying that they don't have access to the error. So let me just remove this part, and let's see if they are able to connect or not. So app running on port 3000 and then connected to DB. So the connection is working fine. Now for some reason the error is not catching. We'll see that later, but as we can see that we are getting the connection. Now let me show you how you can get all of these things. And to do that, I will create another project, and it may take some time. I'll give the project name as, let's say, to do app 5, then next. Now the project owner will be me. Then I can create project. It will take some time again, like MongoDB generally takes some time, so you should be patient. And here I can do one create deployment, and I will select the free tier because I don't want to pay for a to-do list app, and you can name it something you like. I'll name it to-do list app. Now create, and it is asking me to select some motorcycles, so I will select the boxes, then buses, Sometimes it gets annoying, but what can we do? It's security. Okay, it's connected. Now I will have to give one username. I'll give my name, and one password. I'll give abcd1234. So one user is here already, and it will have access to my IP address, so that is fine. So now I can simply do one create. Okay, so my local environment, add my current IP address, so it's added, and that's it. That's all we need. So now finish and close. Go to overview, and we generally don't want to save these passwords because every time a new password will be required. And now we have one to-do list app, and here we have the option to connect, and here we have the same things once again, drivers, compass, and whatever is there. So I will choose the drivers, and here I have a similar string, but this is for the to-do F5. So I'll go back to my VS Code, and I will paste the same thing over here, and here instead of the password I will give the password that I gave, abcd1234, and I will see that we are connected to MongoDB. Now I will show you at the end of the video how to get the error, but for now we'll start creating our app. So we have one base route, and that is this slash. Now we need few other routes, and those routes will be one get route for the to-dos, and here we need few things. So for example, we will have access to request and response, and then we will simply do one res.send. Let's write one route. We will change these things later, but first of all let's create all the routes. Then we need another route for a specific to do, and we will access by the ID. Then we need another route to post our to-dos, so I'll write post, and I will take the to-dos route. Then we need one route for put with ID, which will basically allow us to edit our to-do, and last route for delete, and this is also by ID. So when we write :id, that means we are accepting dynamic IDs, and we can give anything over here. Now I will simply open my Postman and test all of these routes. So here I have already created one to-do list. Like I work with many to-do lists, so I have these things already created. So let's test the home page, that is 3000. So to-do list homepage we are getting. Then get to-dos, we are also getting one route, and similarly we will also get other things. So I have already kept many things over here, like many basic entries. So if I send here, I get one route, so basically it will work. And yeah, it is saying cannot delete something is like this because we right now don't have any IDs. So let's not focus on this. Let's first build the app, and these things will start working on its own. So now first of all, how can we use our Mongoose library to create a to-do list? So let's take a quick look at how the Mongoose library works. So in my Google, I'll write Mongoose library, and we will try to access the documentation. So this is the Mongoose, and we can go to read the docs, and here we will have many things. So first things, we have to define our schema. So schema is like how our data looks like. So for example, they have created one block schema, and here they have one title, author, body, comments, like basic things that a blog should have. And similarly, we will create a schema, and then we will create lots of queries. So here there are many queries like delete many, delete one, find by ID. And as you can see, using this kind of queries, we will access our different kinds of to-dos. So first things first, let's start writing some code. So we can see that our app is connecting, but there is one minor issue. I'll fix that first, and then we will start writing code. So let me refresh, and now you will see app running on port 3000, and after some time we will see connected to TV. Now I don't want this. What I want is I want the app to run only when it is connected to TV. So I can do something like this. Instead of directly writing app.listen, here I will create one async function, and let's name this function as start, and inside I will have one try catch block, and here I will write await, and I will create another function. Let's name this function as connect db, and this function will have access to this connection string. I mean, one argument need to be passed. Let's write that connection string, and inside we will need to connect our database. So I will simply return mongoose dot connect, and let's make this thing URL, because this is after all an argument. URL, and mongoose dot connect, we will pass the URL. So the same thing that we are doing at the top, we want to do it over here. And then once we pass these things, we will do await and then connect DB. And here what we want to do is we want to basically pass our connection string. So now first of all it will connect, because we have an await keyword over here, and then we want to do our app.listen. So let me just keep it over here. App is running on whatever port, and if it is not connecting, then we will get an error, and here I can simply log out my error. And as you can see in this method, we are also catching all the errors if we are getting any. So here I can simply start my app, and let's comment out these lines at the top, and let's see how it works. So it has crashed, and let's see why it has crashed. And there is some syntax error at which line? Connect DB URL, something over here. Let's try to find where is the error. It is saying the error is over here. And why is that? This one is fine, this one is fine, this one is fine, and specifically line number 39. Okay, that is because I have not written the function over here, and I have to write the function. So connect DB, it should be function connect DB, because this is not a class where we can write functions like this. So the app has restarted, and we are getting app running on port 3000. So this is exactly what we want. That means there is no error, because it has connected, and then we are getting this. So, and if there is some issue, it will directly go to the error. So let's forcefully try to create one issue, and let's delete this 3, and let's see if we are getting the error or not. Let's wait for some time, and as you can see, we are getting some error. So that means this error handling is also now working. And yeah, I told that I'll show it in the end, but anyway, we have seen it now only. I mean, coding is very dynamic, so what happens when we don't really know? But anyway, let's create our to-dos now. So first things first, we will see how we can get all our to-dos. So we have app.get to-dos, and here we definitely don't want to return like one route. We want to see how can we get our to-dos. So I can simply write const. Okay, so before this, we have not yet created a schema, so that we need to do first. So we will simply write, let's say here, const task schema, and this is not task, actually this is to do schema equals to new mongoose dot schema, and inside I will give a name, and the name will be of string type, and I will have one completed, and this will be of boolean type. And there is one syntax error over here, and this should be in the left direction. I don't know the directions, I mean you got the error. Okay, anyway, so we need one schema like this, and then what we can simply do is we can write to do equals to mongoose.model, and here let me write to do, and then to do schema. Okay, now we can start working with our schema. So here in our get to do's route, we will write simply const to do's equals to our await, then to do dot find. And now this need to be one async function to use the await, and we need these things because this is an asynchronous activity, and then we have to send something. So we will simply send res.json and then to do's. And now let's see if we get something or not. So let's see if our app restarts or not. So it is restarting. We'll go to our post one, we will go to get to do's, and let's send something. So we have an empty object. That means because we don't have any to do's right now. Okay, So this works. This seems to works good. Now we will try to post one to-dos to see we can get our necessary to-dos or not. So let me keep this one below, and let's first work on the post. So here, how can we post one to-dos? So we will again write const to-do equals to await to-do dot create, and here what I want to create is whatever I have in the request.body. So in my post to-dos, I have one body where I will have the name and completed, the same as a schema, and then accordingly I'll post this one and the to-do will be added. And if you are wondering where I'm getting the find and create and all of these things, so these are basically in the Mongoose library. So we have this many queries, and this is the find one, and there is a create one also. Create one is not a query, so I mean these are the queries for retrieving data, and you can also like find details of it. If you click on find, you will see how find works, and I'm doing exactly the same thing that is, that is being asked over here. So as you can see, we can find it like this, and the same thing we did in our code. So we are finding based on no condition, so we are getting everything. So okay, anyway, this is how it works. And now we are creating a to-do from the requested body, and then we will simply send our to-do. Now okay, the app crashed again, and that is because we don't have async over here. Okay, now we will see if we can create a to-dos or not. So let's wait for the app to start. So app has started. Now we'll go to our post one. We are in add to-dos, and let's send. And we have catch zapdos, and let's now go to the get to-dos and send. So as you can see, we are getting the catch zapdos. So that means this is working fine. The adding and retrieving is working fine. So now we will try to retrieve zapdos based on this ID. So let's see how we can do this. So we are in our code, and now to get one to do by a specific ID, what we can do. So here also we will first create one task, not task, I am repeatedly saying tasks. This is a to do, and we will do await, and then to do dot, we will do find by ID. And how to find by ID, and to do that we already have access to the request.parents.id, which is being sent in the URL only, and then we can do this thing. And let's also add async. Now lastly, raise.send raise.json, and I want to pass the to do. So yeah, this will also work. And now let's also test this thing out. So let's wait for the app to start. We'll go to our postman, get one to do, and let's paste this thing first in the URL, get one to do, and let's see we are getting zapdos or not. So there is some issues over here, and that is because this URL is to-dos/id. Is there any difference over here? Okay, this one is to-do/id, so let's make it to-dos. Let's also make all of these things as to-dos, no need to make to-do. Okay, we have to wait for it to start. Yeah, and this is actually true, it takes some time to start the app. Now let's try to find, and we can see catch zapdos. So we are also getting one to do. Now we have to work on our put and delete methods, and then our to do app will be ready. So how we can actually like edit as well as delete to dos. So first of all, we'll do the delete because that is more simple. So here I will do one to do equals to our basically await, and then we will do our to do, then find by ID and delete, find by ID and delete, not remove, by ID and delete. And what is the ID? The ID is our basically request.parents.id. Now let's send this thing. So raise.json, and I'll pass our to do, and we will also have to write one async over here, async. And also let's do this thing also. We have our put, so here also I will have one const to do equals to, I will do one await of to do. And how can we actually do this thing? So we will do find by ID and update. Find by ID and update. And here actually we have to pass two things. First of all, ID, that is the rake params.id, and then also the body that will be updated too. So request.body, and then we can simply send this thing res.json, and then basically let's add our to do. Okay, now let's test everything because everything is done. So let's test everything. So let's go to our postman. We will go to our put, and here first of all let me just copy this one, edit to do, and I want to change the catch zabdos to the catch latias, and let's see if it works or not. So it is showing me the catch zabdos. Now we will go to get to dos and see if it is changed or not. So as you can see, it has changed to catch latias. And let's also try to change the true to false. So we will make it false because latias is very difficult to catch. Now we'll go to get to dos and see if it is changed or not. And as you can see, the completed has become false. Now the same thing will do for the delete, and there should be no entries in our to dos. So we'll give this thing and send. We are getting catch latias, and if I go to get to dos and send, we have nothing. That means our delete is also working fine. Now the best thing about MongoDB is that even if I close this app and then start again, wherever we have left, it will start from there. So all my data will be saved. So let's add few entries. So catch zabdos, send, then catch, let's say articuno, send, then catch our basically latias, send, latios, send. Now we have 4 to dos, and surprisingly we have got all the legendaries. And as you can see, now we have 4 to dos. Now let me simply close my app and then we'll start again, and you will see that we have everything. So let me write nodemon and then index.js. It will take some time to connect and start. It has started. Now we'll go back to our postman, and then we will do our get to dos, and as you can see, we have everything. And that is because all of these things are being saved in the cloud. So if we go to MongoDB and we have in this project, and we can simply go to our database. So we have this Todo List App, and here everything is being stored. So we can go to browse collections. Inside our browse collections, we will have like all of these things. So we have zabdos, articuno, and we also have latias and latios inside this test to dos. And basically we can also do the modifications here, but you get the idea that this is how we are creating the connection between the backend and the database. Now we can also add one front end on top of it. This will basically take these APIs, these API routes, and then create a nice looking UI on top of it. And then that will become a full stack to-do list application, which has front end, back end, and database. So in this video, we'll do up to this only. So maybe in the next video, we will make one full stack to-do list application. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.